Hi, I'm James Miller, and I'm the owner of this black and gold Z28 Camaro. I bought it with my graduation money. Yeah, parents thought I was going to go to college, and I bought a car. Just kidding. It's an 86, and it's got T-tops, and it also has the original T5 5-speed Borg-Warner transmission in it. It's got one-wheel peel. If you know what that means, you know it's not that great. It's basically all original besides the engine. Now, these cars came with a 305 from the factory, the Z28. The IROC Zs came with a 350, but they only offered it in an automatic. So it was really common for people to put the 350 in the Z28 because it had a manual. Now what I have here is a rebuilt 79 Corvette engine. It probably only has about 5,000 miles on it. And then I just got an eBay turbo kit for it. I was actually off a guy who had it before me. He had it on a Firebird. It was like a 87. That turbo kit from eBay has some drawbacks, has some positives. A lot of people don't like it because of all the stuff that goes wrong and all the extra parts you have to buy without even thinking about it when you buy it, the turbo kit in the first place. So I'm going to give you a list of things just to try out, to think about when you're going to buy your turbo kit off of eBay for a small block 350. Now looking at it here, it's obviously not fully completed yet. I did have everything on and everything running. I'll get to more of that in a second. The reason I have it all taken apart again is because of some of the drawbacks to getting the eBay turbo kit. Now for one, can't really see down in there, but that's a passenger side header. It's only about an inch gap from this pipe to the block. Now all those spark plugs are in there. So the thing with these turbo kits and the headers that come with them, you got to get shortened spark plugs. Because if you got the long ones, they're not going to work. You're going to break them off trying to get them in. You can't get the plug caps on. I mean, it's just a bear to get in even with the short ones. That's for sure. You're going to have to do that no matter what. Then I replaced the valve covers. The ones I had on there were way too tall. Obviously, you can see the turbo sits pretty close to the valve covers. I had pretty tall ones on there, so I took them off. Got these aftermarket ones here. But even still, the headers that come with it, the turbo that sits on it, it's really close. You can barely see down there, but I have 2 spacers in there. So each spacer is 1 inch. So it's a 2-inch spacer on top of the header to have the turbo set up a little bit higher. And that does not come with the kit. Those are bought separately on their own aftermarket off of eBay. So you're gonna have to get 2 spacers to sit the turbo up higher. Now another problem people have with these cars with the turbo on it and all the headers and things like that, sometimes the headers come from eBay warped. So you're kind of sketching out a little bit on whether you're gonna get a good pair of headers or not. Mine were straight. They seem pretty good. They do leak, and I gotta fix it. It's kind of where it's torn apart right now. And I forgot to tighten 2 bolts, and they're really hard to get to, so I gotta take the whole turbo off, all the piping off, just to get those 2 bolts to, remake a gasket for that and tighten them down. That's kind of my fault. The big thing, it's a kind of a drawback to this. It's really hard to get your plug wires in and out. It's really hard to get to the spark plugs. Even with regular headers, no turbo at all, you most likely usually have to pull off the headers to get to your spark plugs to pull them in and out. It's a lot of work. You gotta pull stuff on and off. You can't really just put everything on and expect it to work right away the first time. Another thing I forgot to mention, it's pretty important. You got your header over here, good old pipes right here. So this, your dipstick, your oil dipstick, is really gonna be hard to explain, but this goes, can't even see it. But it has to do with your headers. It goes into your block. You got to modify this hole, the dipstick tube here. That was an absolute pain in the butt. I would advise giving someone with Fabrication and having them do it for you. So I guess good luck with that. You can message me if you really want to know about the dipstick and how I made it work. Can't really explain too much more on that. It just really sucked. So another huge crucial thing that I forgot to mention when talking about the fuel and the turbo kit and everything like that. If you get an external fuel pump, it's pumping the same rate all the time. So this pumps at about 9 PSI. What we're gonna want is a boost fuel pressure regulator. So what this does is it restricts the flow until it has boost. So this right here, turbo, it's got an inlet here. This line, so this line goes in here. So the more boost this has, the more this regulator opens up to put fuel in the carburetor. So the more boost, the more fuel. And you can adjust it with this right here. For every pound of boost that you're putting in your engine, you want an extra pound of fuel pressure. So pound of boost, pound of fuel pressure. That's what this thing does. If you don't have one of these and you're running boost and you got a set amount of fuel pressure at all times, you're gonna be running super rich at idle and it's not gonna run right. If you get really high in the RPMs, it's gonna run great because you have that extra boost with all that fuel. So with having that regulator, it's gonna run a lot better at idle and a lot better at, you know, higher RPMs because it's kind of regulated. Because these cars obviously don't have computer. It's a carbureted, you know, engine. There's no computer, it's all mechanical. Obviously, it would have computer if it was a TPI setup, but this car never had that. It was 305 carbureted from the factory. I don't know if I mentioned this earlier, but this is a 350. A guy before me who had it, he swapped this in. As I mentioned before in the video, it was really common for that to happen, put a 350, so it would have a manual behind it. Another thing you might want to think about is this downpipe. I mean, you're gonna have to be really specific as how you do this downpipe. I didn't do it. The passenger side header down here that connects the driver's side, so you know all the exhaust can go right in here. It's pretty close to the firewall. Now this is a 3-inch downpipe. It squeezes right down in there. I mean, that's why it's just a wrap, almost resting right against the firewall and right against the header pipe down here. I was gonna wrap all this down here on both sides of the headers, but it's literally so close to the block. It's so close to the plugs and the bolts to get them in the block. There wouldn't be any room to get any wrenches or sockets in there to tighten anything down or even get the plug wires in. I was having a hard time with fitting shortened plug wires on. So we're just gonna see how that goes. I did get spark plug boots right here just to protect the wires. See it down in there. Got one here, and then two on the other side. But so that'll help a lot. And then I also have a turbo blanket that I'm going to put in between the valve cover and the turbo. It's pretty close here and close to all these wires and things like that. So yeah, you can run your turbo charge pipe however the heck you want. I don't really care. So with the charge pipe, it's got a 55 millimeter blow off valve. Seems to work great. Haven't had problems with it. You can run your charge piping however you want. This is kind of really far down in there. And it's really, really close to the radiator right here. I mean, it's not rested against it hard. It's just barely touching it. It looks bad though, but obviously it's a thicker radiator too. So if you have original radiator, it shouldn't be a problem, but this is a 3-core radiator, super wide. All right, so we covered just a little bit, kind of skimmed the top of the things that you're gonna need for the turbo kit. So basically a good list that you wanna have is shortened spark plugs for one, have to get those. You're gonna have to get turbo spacers depending on what kind of valve covers you have. It might work if you have a completely stock valve cover. It might work, don't know for sure because I don't have stock valve covers. But I did have to shorten mine, so you're either gonna have to get aftermarket valve covers or you're gonna have to get, you know, the spacers, the T4 spacers for your turbo. And you might even need to get both because I have both right now. Then you're gonna get a boost by fuel pressure regulator thing. Don't know what it's called. I totally sound not educated whatsoever, but I kind of know what I'm doing-ish. Having one of those regulators really helps. That'd be pretty cool to get if you want to tackle this whole thing. So if you have a carburetor that's not modified, that's all stock, it's not a blow-through, get one that is blow-through or watch another video about how you can make that carburetor a blow-through, but it's up to you. It looks decent. It's pretty cool. It's a 70 millimeter turbo. Looks like it should be on a truck. It kind of looks small in the video, but it's decent. You probably laughed a little bit when I said I kind of know what I'm doing-ish. I don't know a lot, and I totally screwed up naming everything that's on my car. At least I decided to share something with you, you know? If you want to know anything, you can message me. Put something in the comments. If you want to know something specific, I'll actually talk with you because obviously no one follows me, no one comments. So if you happen to run across this and you're looking for something exactly like this and how to do something, let me know. I'll help you as best as I can. I'll try to point you in the right direction. Give me something, I'll reply to you. So you probably skipped through like half of it, totally fine. I'm not super action-packed and exciting. You know, I'm not that funny, I'm not that great, but if you're looking for something to do, put a turbo kit in your old Camaro. You get the ladies in no time. Just kidding. It doesn't work like that.